Hello, my name is Jodi Low, and this is the Leadership Lowdown, powered by the BBB and You and Improved. The Leadership Lowdown cuts through the clutter and gets to the heart of what makes businesses tick. We want to share the stories that matter to you, all of the successes and triumphs and all of the pitfalls, and everything that happens in between. So with that, let's get on to today's show. Well, welcome back to the Leadership Lowdown. And today I am so excited to have such an interesting guest. I can't wait to hear all about your journey. So I want to make sure I pronounce everything correctly. It is Dr. Aaron Blocher-Rubin. Did I get it all right?
You got it.
Okay, perfect. And you are the president, CEO, founder of Arizona Autism United. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Well, I was reading your bio and I was mesmerized at all that you've accomplished, but also all the great work that you do. So tell our listeners a little bit about Arizona Autism United and your mission and how this all came to be.
Sure. So we're a nonprofit organization.
Yep.
Founded in 2006,
Okay.
so coming up on 20
years.
years.
That's exciting.
Yep, and our mission is to help as many families as possible with individualized supports.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Our goal is here to help the community. We're kind of a large-scale service provider, so we provide a variety of different therapies, support services, treatments, coaching services, behavioral health. We partner with different organizations, inpatient, outpatient. So really trying to fill the gaps in the community for care needs, which there were many when we started. Things have changed a lot. Things have evolved, but there are still many more, and especially when we look at different ages, different subpopulations. So we're always kind of trying to push the boundaries of what does our community need next? What are we in the best position to provide? And how can we grow it so that we can reach a lot of people?
I love that. Well, and if I understand correctly, you serve over 1,000 families a day. Is that correct?
Yes, almost 2,000, which
that is
a lot to process sometimes.
That is a lot to even fathom. So what are some of the ways that you help and support? Because I'm sure there's multiple different variety of ways. But
yeah, so we have a wide variety of programs and services. Most are funded through some sort of Medicaid government contract, either with the Arizona Division of Developmental Disabilities or our state Medicaid program, Access. We have contracts with all those health plans. We also have some things that are grant funded and some things that we just do for the community, however we can support it. So like we have a family support program, for example, which it's not exactly a hotline, but I think that's like the best equivalent I can give you. It's basically an opportunity for anybody to contact a family support specialist who is trained, qualified, has lived experience with autism, and can help them answer any question.
Love that.
Free. There's no
just a great
no
resource.
Barriers. It's just a resource because that's one of the biggest things that families run into. They have a problem and they just don't know who to
go to or how to solve it. Yeah.
So we can be a starting point for that.
That's fantastic. So I'm sure there's a story and a journey that got you to where you are today. So tell us what led you to come about founding the company.
Yeah, there's always a story.
Right. There's always a good, that's what this is all about, right? Sharing the story. How did we get here?
Yeah. I'm one of those people who could never decide what he wanted to be when he grew up.
Fair enough.
I knew I wanted to do something unique, and that's probably why I would have never imagined this, because I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
I got into the field of working with individuals with autism because of my youngest brother, Andy. We were 16 years apart.
Okay.
That was my first introduction to autism. I didn't know anything about it, but I had such a strong, loving attachment to my little brother that I wanted to learn. I was lucky enough to be at a university. I was at UCLA for undergrad, where they had one of the leading autism treatment programs that I was able to do and study. And I just wanted to learn for my family's sake, but found that, wow, I actually really like this. And I couldn't believe what a difference it made.
Oh, I have literal goosebumps right now, like legit goosebumps. How beautiful that you knew you wanted to do something different or unique, and then
stumble upon that and was like, wow, this is something I care about. It's needed. This is not enough people can get this.
Yeah.
So my goal was always to take what I saw right in front of my eyes was working, and knowing most people could not access this, and say, how can we just make great care and treatment and support available to families like mine.
That
and
is fantastic.
That's kind of where it started.
Wow. So how did you create the infrastructure, or to know, how do I build this? How did that come about? Because I'm sure there was a lot of learning that went into building something like this.
And I didn't know at all.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's always the case. We figure as we go, right?
Build the ship as you're sailing.
Yeah.
Right? I was fortunate enough to work at the Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center, or SARKC.
SARKC, yes.
Yep, in the early days. And that was where I learned about nonprofits. I didn't know anything about that either.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, this is amazing. We are helping these families who, could not afford this type of care anywhere else. And somehow we're doing that. So I'm like, tell me how this works.
Yeah.
And then I learned about the nonprofit model, about fundraising, about community partnerships, and that was it for me. I thought, okay, those are the two interests I have. And I had a great experience there and still have a great collaborative relationship with them.
That's great.
And we saw an opportunity, which was, this organization is going in one direction, but there's a different need over here that another organization needs to fill. And that's of the large scale, high volume service delivery models, across the state. And so that was a perfect opportunity to create something new, seek out some of those contracts with our state funding sources. There were sort of a hodgepodge of privately owned agencies around the state at the time, but frankly, none that we really felt comfortable referring to.
Got it.
And that was sort of the impetus. Myself and another group of families that I knew had said, our families need better, and let's just start, and we'll see where it goes.
We'll just build it.
We'll just try to do the best we can.
My goodness, over 2,000 families a day. That is unbelievable. So what are some of the key, defining elements or differentiators about your organization that is unique to you and what you provide?
Yeah. I think, first of all, our scope of services is unique. So there's more and more companies, some nonprofits, but more and more there's a trend toward, privately owned and often investor-backed, even private equity-backed autism therapy companies. Unfortunately, there's a very different motive that comes along with that. It tends to be very profit-driven.
Yeah.
And kind of a little bit of gaming the system, which is not always in the family's best interests, right?
Sure.
So that's something that we have really taken on as an important responsibility we have. We are a designated center of excellence for autism services. And we really think about what that means to be a model of care delivery that is what we call family-centered. So the parents have and sometimes the individual themselves have a really central role in shaping their own treatment and deciding how much, how little, what are the goals, what are the priorities, because that's what makes it meaningful. That's what makes it effective.
Yeah.
Then also really integrating all these different disciplines, because traditionally families have gone to one place for speech therapy and one place for behavioral therapy and one place for occupational therapy. And you end up getting 7 different providers who don't talk to each other, are all giving different advice, are sometimes, saying that the other one is wrong. And the parent is sitting there going, how am I supposed to decide, right? Yeah. So we very intentionally are building what we call an interdisciplinary care model. And so it's all these different providers under one roof that work together, that collaborate, their treatment plans, reinforce each other rather than conflicting with each other. And we try to take the same approach when we're collaborating with external parties, whether it's a school or a doctor or another provider. So that's a big one. I think another thing is that we really strive to, like I said, fill these gaps, which means having different service models for different needs and different ages. Many providers will sort of cap out, they only go up to a certain age, or they can't do much for clients whose needs are too great or too difficult to meet. And so it's a big task, but we really are focused on this idea of comprehensive services across the lifespan. We're not there yet, but that's the direction we want to go. And we do have services that, we even have elderly individuals with autism that get, some forms of therapy and things like that.
Fantastic.
And it's limited. There's more that we need to do.
Sure.
But that's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is that,
that's the future.
There's a starting point, and whatever it is you need, either we can provide it for you, or we can direct you to a place that can. and trying to integrate these different disciplines. Even integrating the medical and the behavioral is very difficult to do, but it's needed because they're getting both.
Yeah,
and if they're not
absolutely.
communicating, then you're definitely not getting the best
You're
outcome.
missing that. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think those things and being, like I said, very family-centered and nonprofit are what distinguish us.
Yeah. And I know we'd mentioned before we jumped on camera today, but you'd mentioned that you have been recognized as the best places to work numerous times now, if I understood correctly. So what is it about the culture that you've created, or how important is that, and what have you done to create that, I guess not just the awards and the recognition, but that place that people want to be there?
This is a huge priority and a value for us. I mean, when I started the organization, I was basically in those shoes of having been a therapist and a program coordinator, and I really wanted it to be a place that I would want to work.
Yes.
And that anybody who worked for me or for us would also want to work, right? It turned out to be more difficult than I thought. There were some hurdles along the way where I thought everything was going great, and then you find out somebody's really unhappy with something, and those are really important learning moments to be reflective and take ownership of that, and not make excuses, and really find out, like, wow, I've never built an organization before. Obviously, there's something I need to learn here.
Right.
I think one of the most important things that I learned along the way is the importance of having good leadership at all levels, and for everybody in the organization, having a trusted leader that they can go to, that supports them, that cares about them, that it doesn't have so many people that they're responsible for, that they don't have time for them. And one of the interesting things we did early on is that we removed the ability of supervisors to determine pay for their staff. We made that completely separate because I felt it was very important that if somebody is confiding in their supervisor and looking for help and looking to get better and wanting to take constructive and critical feedback and give it, that there isn't this sort of conflicting variable of, but you're also responsible for my financial future. Right.
So how
It's
open
like,
and honest am I going to be?
It becomes kind of a conflict. So I think that was really important because we really looked at it as like supervisors should be mentors. They should be trying to help everybody do their best. And we don't want anything to get in the way of that. And so, pay is obviously it's the primary reason people get a job. So like that has to be taken care of. So we created a whole separate system. We also have what we call a scheduled raise program. So everybody just gets a raise every 6 months. It's all kind of laid out in advance. It's predictable. And so that's a way for them to know that it takes out that source of tension that I think is so common in many companies. And then from there, now the doors are open to build a great culture. That's fantastic. Right? And we do things with our employees. We try to give people lots of different experience with different projects, to, areas of interest, professional development, growth opportunities. And then I think just the overall attitude of, I try to model as in my role that, we have lots of meetings like many organizations, but I try to model that while we're serious about getting stuff done, we also want to enjoy ourselves while we work. So,
spend more time there
than a little bit. And, make fun of myself and those types of things.
The self-deprecating humor that always that connects,
goes over really well.
I love it. How many people are on your team now? How big is your team?
So my team would be the senior management team, and there are, I have to count in my head, I think there's 8 of us, either 8 or 9.
In the organization as a whole?
And then we have, we have different layers of staff. And so we have what we call our program leaders, which is sort of like all of our managers and senior supervisors and people that are sort of in charge of a department or a unit or something, or a program. And there are about 30 of us, I believe. And then we have our clinicians and our admin staff, and that's about 200 people. Wow. And then we have all of our direct care providers that are in the field, providing support services for homes, and that's over 1,000. So that's how we serve all those families.
Big,
it's a lot of people.
Big team. That's fantastic. I mean, but the work that you're doing is so vital and so incredible. And I guess this is sort of a
bit of a naive question, and it's coming from just truly a place of curiosity. But I know that when I was young, we didn't hear or know the terminology or the language of autism, Asperger's, spectrum. That this is something that I, as a young adult and older, is what is the research, or what is the findings, or how has this become what it is today? Is it this is something that's always been, we just didn't have the understanding of it, or is there more of it? Because I feel like that's a question that I know I've had and I've heard of. Has this always been just not something that we had the language around?
Right. Well, there's definitely different opinions on this.
Okay.
I'll give you mine, which I think most of my colleagues share, which is, yes, always been there.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of examples of that. You can go back into ancient literature, and obviously they didn't use the word autism, but you look at the description of characters or people, and it's pretty clear that's what was going on. I think that, growing up in my generation and likely yours, we didn't see a lot of it because the kids were probably segregated into special classrooms. There weren't all these therapy centers. There wasn't all this public awareness. People would say autistic and you thought they said artistic, that kind of thing. I didn't know what it was when my brother was diagnosed, I didn't even realize it was like a big deal at first, that has changed a lot. And I think it's changed a lot, during my course of being involved in the field and really seeing these huge public awareness campaigns from different organizations, SARKC being a key one of them, even on a national stage.
Sure.
And I think that's really made a big difference. And then now we're a little bit of an interesting place where we sometimes see that the understanding of the diagnosis is getting a little bit lost in the noise of often like social media. And it's a little bit unfortunate because, people who have autism and autistic adults and individuals, there are some very genuine struggles there, major struggles for families sometimes. And I think that gets a little bit downplayed in some of the, lightweight sort of, I would say, social media rhetoric we see, where it almost looks like autism is like this fun thing to have, especially with adults. And there's all these little like TikTok quizzes and,
interesting.
It gets a little ridiculous. And I think that's unfortunate.
Right.
So it is important that we do keep the public's awareness, because our fear is that if it becomes too not taken seriously enough, then those who do have those real needs also get lumped into this category of like, what's the big deal? Everybody has autism now.
Got it. That
and
makes
we hate
sense.
to see that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that said, there are, like I said, thousands that just in our purview. So there's clearly a very large incidence of it. Can anybody say for sure if there's a cause that's driving that? Obviously, there's population growth in general.
Yep.
So
a lot
there's going to be more of anything.
100%.
But absolutely more awareness, more diagnostics. Once there's more treatment, more people become interested in finding out, what is it. So there's a lot of factors.
So recently, and I just love to get your take on this, there's been a lot more social media mentions, as you had said. There's also been the reality shows, Love on the Spectrum, and some shows highlighting real life and people living with autism and their relationships and what that looks like. What are your thoughts on that? Has that been a benefit to shine a positive light on that piece of living with autism? Or has it been a detriment? What's kind of your take on that? I'm curious.
I definitely think it's been a positive.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
anytime you're building awareness, compassion, appreciation, those of us who work in this field and have worked with children with autism or individuals, we love it.
Okay, good.
And we get hooked because they're just such pure, genuine people that don't, they're not fake in any way. They're not putting on any airs, and that's, even from when they're 2 years old, you can see it. And it's just, I think that's sort of what drives so many people to want to work in this field, and they make us laugh all the time. And so, I think we love that, and it's great to be able to share that with the world. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
I think that what's important, though, is that that the public perception is not limited to think, oh, autism is just like really smart, quirky people. You know what I mean? And it's such a broad spectrum. And we've said for years, it's almost unfortunate that that's all kind of one diagnosis for such a wide variety of needs. But,
right.
There's been a movement in recent years to really distinguish a category of profound autism, which is individuals with, really intense needs who probably don't have language, need, maybe 24-hour care, and it doesn't really matter how much therapy you give them. Those things aren't going to change. They can still improve and have a good quality of life and so on. But that part is not realistic to alter in the course of therapy. And so I think it's important that there's awareness on both sides. And sometimes that is, not as sort of made for TV kind of thing.
Right.
So as long as we're not sort of misrepresenting the spectrum and the needs of people with autism to the point where it turns into like less support for the needs for support that they have, then I think it's a positive.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious on that and what your take would be. And I know earlier you'd mentioned something we were talking about with in relation to mentoring. So I'm just curious, did you have someone that sort of took you under their wing, or you had a great mentor, whether it's a teacher or a coach or parent, somebody that was inspirational and
Yeah, I've had different people at different phases, but I will say that it's at every phase there's been someone or a small group of people that are helping me with certain aspects of where I am. Different board members, a lot of board members have taught me so much and helped me through things I just didn't know how to navigate. When I was just getting started, I connected with some other nonprofit directors who were just a lot more experienced than me, but just really took an interest in helping me succeed. And I'm just forever grateful for those things, and I try to give that back whenever somebody wants something like that from me, because I think that's how you pay it forward.
Yeah, it is the whole pay it forward. Absolutely. Well, I shared with you also before we started that I have some fun questions that I wanted to ask you so that our guests or our listeners can learn a little bit more about what makes Aaron tick. So first question is, what is your favorite word?
Well, I think a word that means a lot to me is integrity, because it's relevant in so many contexts in our lives, in how we treat other people, in how we pursue the things that are important to us, in how we, make decisions about what's the right path to pursue, whether that's in an organization or in your life, how we sort of evaluate the leaders that exist around us.
100%.
So it's something that I try to stay true to.
Sure, that you embody. Yeah, you embody.
And I really value it.
I love, and here we are at the BBB, which is all about morals and integrity and trust and doing everything with ethics. So I love that. I love that. Is there a word that you just do not like? Just least favorite word?
Right. I tend to not really like buzzwords. So, okay, there is one actually. So with everything that's happened in recent years in the autism services industry, I get really turned off when I hear leaders of big companies refer to the autism community as a market.
Oh.
And I hear that a lot.
Interesting.
Because it really dehumanizes them and makes them the product of a commodity that is all about just selling widgets and maximizing profit. And so to me, I'm very intentional that we never talk about it as the market. It's a community. And we're here to serve the community and to meet their needs and deliver something that is important to them and meaningful and can grow and make life better. But we're not here to just take advantage of them and take their money.
I so appreciate that. I'm a lover of language and words and the power and meaning behind words. And while maybe not intentional, what you're saying is so valid because, it does dehumanize and make it, commodity based as opposed to a community and a group of individuals. So very introspective. I like that. I like that answer. What turns you on, whether it be creatively, spiritually, emotionally, like what just lights you up?
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I'll use that question as an opportunity to talk about an event that we have.
Oh, okay.
Which is really exciting. So we have a new event. This is going to be our second year doing it coming up. It's on October 4th, actually right down the street at the Madison Center for the Arts.
Nice.
It's called the Spectrum of Dreams.
Oh, nice.
And it is a talent show. So we decided to try this out last year, and we didn't know what would happen. But kind of like you said, we focus so much on the needs of people with autism, on their limitations, on their challenges. But there are so many gifts, there are so many positives, and there aren't enough opportunities for those to be highlighted, which is why I like shows like Love on the Spectrum, right? Because it really lets you see and appreciate that. Yes. So we decided to just put out an open call for auditions to the autism community, say we're going to host this talent show. We want to make it fun. It can be any skill, you know, and we figured, you know, we know that we've known many individuals with autism that have some sort of special interest or special talent, but it's typically not ready for a performance. So we assumed we had some performance coaches. We assumed we'd have to really help them develop an act. And we were shocked to see how many people came to us with an act that was basically ready to go.
No kidding. I love this.
That was amazing. And, you know, singing and dancing and magic tricks and comedy, impressions. I mean, just all over the board.
That is so neat.
So much, such fun, such genuine acts. And, you know, one of the hallmarks of autism is what's typically referred to as a deficit in social awareness, right? Which is not reading social cues very well. And, you know, not really doing sort of what's expected of you in social environments, which can look like, you know, they don't understand or they just don't care what other people think, which isn't necessarily true, but, you know, that's the stereotype.
The perception, yeah.
But I will say one thing that appeared to be a strength with this group is zero stage fright.
Really? They're just like, right on, let's do this.
You know, whatever the crowd reaction was, they were in it 110%. And
isn't that?
It was so fun and it meant so much to them.
Yeah.
And we intentionally made it a community event. It wasn't like a fundraiser. There was no alternative agenda. It was like, we just want to give these kids a chance to, you know,
special
highlight everything that they want to offer and give them the showcase. And it meant so much to them and their families, and the crowd just loved it. And it was one of the most fun things we've ever did. So
that is fantastic. That turns you on. I can understand that for sure. I love that. And what a great way to just shine a bright light on their talents and gifts. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And it is an open to the public event.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
It's spectrumofdreams.com and the tickets are on sale now.
Go visit. I love that. I love that. That's really, really, I love that you turn that into a way to highlight. That's beautiful. Is there something conversely that just turns you off when you see or feel or experience it?
Oh, you know, for me, it's just, I've said it before, but I keep saying it. I'm really, really discouraged by how dominant the manipulative business practices have become in our field for children with autism. And it's preying on very vulnerable families who are rightfully very worried, concerned, want to do everything they can, but don't realize that the recommendations they're often getting are not based on integrity. They're based on profit. And so it's a real problem. It's one that I'm very vocal about. People who follow me on LinkedIn know this. And, you know, again, it's happened really fast. There were some changes to insurance law about a decade ago. And all of a sudden, it was really driven largely by a huge private equity movement and just billions and billions of dollars coming into the field in ways we had just never seen before. And so it's taken some time to catch our breath and sort of figure out what's going on. And
what that looks
and
like.
There's still a lot of good work going on out there. The important thing is educating families and payers and leaders about sort of what we call red flags, green flags, you know, what is good work versus what is just kind of preying on a vulnerable individual.
I would venture to guess that would be very disheartening to see for sure.
It's a little tough.
Yeah. Is there a sound or noise that you love?
I like the sound of the wind.
Oh, nice.
Very
relaxing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Is there conversely again a sound or noise that you hate that just gets under your skin?
Dust blowers.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because of what they represent, which is dust blowing all over the place.
I don't want this. That's so funny.
Just rake your leaves.
Yeah, just rake your leaves and stop it all. Is there a profession other than your own, like skill set aside, that you're like, that would be so cool to do? Like, I would love to do that.
For me, it's probably something in the field of music.
Oh,
you know, whether it's
certain genre or just.
I like a lot of music. You know, I like a lot of instrumental music. jazz and things like that.
Yeah.
But, whether it's recording or producing, or if I was good enough playing,
Nice.
that would have been a great
gig.
life.
Great
but
life, yeah.
A little tougher to make a living too.
Yes, I get that. Is there a profession that you think I could just never do that?
For me, that was always just, kind of corporate America.
Yeah.
It just
You had too much of that entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah, I guess so. Or humanitarian or something. I don't know. I just, I could never wrap my head around pursuing a path where I didn't believe in the outcome of the work I was doing. And unfortunately, I think that our society is so structured to push people into jobs and focus on the personal rewards they experience, and remove them from, don't pay attention to all the environmental destruction going on over here,
right,
or all the small businesses and farms we're, killing over there, kind of thing. And
let's just look at this shiny object, right? Like, and pay attention to this.
The bigger it gets, the harder it is to even understand, where does this all go? And so, not to say that it's all like that, but I think that's just a real challenge, I think, in our society. And I think is why I was so drawn to nonprofits.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Well, to wrap us up with these questions, if heaven exists, what would you love to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Everyone is welcome.
Nice. I love that, especially with the work that you do. How beautiful. How beautiful. That's wonderful.
Inclusion.
Yes. It's about inclusion. Well, thank you for doing all the beautiful work you do in this world and in our community. And to kind of just wrap it up and put a bow on it today, being the Leadership Lowdown, love to ask if there's, I don't know, if a word of wisdom or leadership tip, anything that you would love to leave our listeners with that maybe was meaningful for you along the way, or that you've learned that you think would be beneficial to share.
Yeah, I think that for me, all of our success, I think, is owed to the people that we work with. Employees, whether in leadership positions or clinical roles or whatever it is, but also board members and parents that have supported us and so on. So I think just, making time for the relationships and really wherever you can, giving opportunities to people to let them shine and let them contribute and let them lead the way. And I think that just builds that culture of like, we're all doing this together. Yeah. And I think that's the secret to success.
I love it. I love it. Great way to wrap us up. Well, thank you, Aaron, so much for being with us, sharing about you and your journey, as well as all the great work that you're doing. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, appreciate it very much.
So until next time, this has been the Leadership Lowdown. My name is Jodi Low. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, leaders are learners, so stay curious and keep leading with love. And remember, you can catch our show every Thursday morning, but the best way to keep up with new episodes is to subscribe on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.